Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We will be covering, um, we will be covering Raphinha's hat trick, firing Barcelona past Bayern Munich, um, 4-1. We'll discuss today's Champions League fixtures, the rest of those games. We'll talk about United taking on Fenerbahce. We'll discuss Calafiori's injury and who will Arsenal start in defense with the issues that they have now with Saliba also being out when they take on Liverpool. And make sure you stick around for the end of the show where I'll be giving you my reactions to some of the top headlines going on in the soccer world. If you have a question during the show, we want to hear it. Your input is a big part of what makes this show successful, and we thrive on your energies and insights. Whether it's a quick comment, a thoughtful question, or an opinion you just have to share, please don't hesitate to drop it in the chat. And now, if you want to make absolutely sure your message stands out and gets featured on the show, there's an easy way to do that. Use the super chat feature. Just hit the $ at the bottom of the chat box to send in your super chat. This puts your questions at the bottom of the chat box. Where we can see it. And you can send your super chat. This guarantees that your message gets on the air, and it's also a fantastic way to support our channel. We rely on your support to keep bringing you the sports content you love, and we appreciate every bit of it. So go ahead and let us know what you're thinking. Hit that super chat button, and let's keep the show as interactive and exciting as possible. And if you prefer, you can also go to the GSMCpodcast.net. You can also go to the GSMCpodcast.net to tip, donate, and leave a comment or question there. We couldn't do what we do without your amazing support, and we're so thankful to have you as part of our community. We have to start off though with Raphinha. Well, not Raphinha. Barcelona got a ultimate 4-1 win over Bayern Munich. I always say Bayern Munich. I don't even know. Bayern Munich. That sounds better. Over Bayern Munich. Raphinha had a hat trick. Dominant performance by him. Very open-ended game as I expected both teams to go after it. And to be really open, open and willing to go forward, have a high line, press up high, and really try to protagonist and attack the game. The problem is, what did I say before the game? The defensive frailties of Bayern Munich. Had a chance to be exposed in this one. Now, Barcelona also played this really attacking-minded, open game. But the difference with this is I trust Barcelona more defensively. I trust them defensively more than Bayern Munich. And it's crazy to say when you compare the money that Bayern have invested in the center-half position compared to Barcelona over recent years. You have Barcelona, Pau Cubarsí, who came up the ranks, and Inigo Martinez, that's played most of his career playing at Atletico Bilbao, and this is really his first opportunity playing at a club like Barcelona, age 33. A little bit of a journeyman. Not a journeyman, but making that late. It's a temporary fix for Barcelona, who don't have the means to go out and spend the money to bring in a world-class center-half. And I came into this game trusting that center-half partnership more than Kim Min-jae and Upamecano because, number one, they're asked to do a lot. They're already vulnerable defenders, in my opinion. They're vulnerable turning the ball over, trying to play out. They're vulnerable in terms of their defending as well. And on top of that, Bayern They have a system where they like pushing up Alphonso Davies and Rafael Guerrero. They want to take advantage of the width that the fullbacks provide that allows players like Gnabry and Olise to play on the inside channels. The problem when you're doing that is you force Kim Min-jae and Upamecano to cover even more ground as they get split out wide, and you add even more responsibilities to them. That's the issue I've been saying with Bayern for a minute now. It's been those defensive frailties, and they were exposed in this game. It starts off from minute 1. Bayern Munich, their line is basically at the halfway line. What did I say before? I said if Barcelona could play out of the initial, if they could have that little bit of quality to play out of the initial press, there is space and opportunity that Barcelona can take advantage of Bayern. There's plenty of space and opportunity. What happened? Immediately into the game, Bayern with their initial press, Barcelona are able to play out of it with Robert Lewandowski dropping down. Brilliant hold-up play. Then it's one ball in behind, and suddenly Raphinha is in through on goal. And just like that, it's 1-0 Barcelona. It's 1-0 Barcelona. Simple as that. Just needing that little bit of quality to get out of the initial press and then play that one ball in behind, and suddenly you're in. Now, Bayern were able to create opportunities of their own. Harry Kane had a few opportunities. They were able to get the equalizing goal through Harry Kane. Because Bayern is still, they could still create a lot of opportunities, and they still have a huge quality with Olise, Gnabry, Harry Kane, of course, with Harry Kane, of course, they still have huge quality and huge ability. Harry Kane also had another opportunity earlier on. Before that, it was slightly called offsides. We know what this Bayern Munich team, the quality that they have, but again, they're still vulnerable defensively. They're still pretty easy to play against. Second goal comes Lamine Yamal playing a ball which shouldn't beat Kim Min-jae from where it beat him. Kim Min-jae, look, he gets touched in the back. Yes, there's a little of an extension of the arm where he goes in with the forearm, but it's not a push. It's a love tap. Essentially, it's a love tap. Kim Min-jae did not get contacted enough where it should move him off a spot. There's no chance. You look at the size differential between Fermin Lopez and Kim Min-jae. That little love tap, even, it shouldn't move Kim Min-jae at all, number one, from the first place, number one. Number two, even if they were the same, physical characteristics, that was not a push. Yes, his arm extends a little bit, yes, your arm can extend without pushing someone. His arm extended a little bit trying to get leverage, but he didn't push. It was a tap. Kim Min-jae, horrible judging the flight of the ball again. The defensive frailties of Kim Min-jae, just couldn't judge the prop properly. Jumped too early in the air. Ball bounces right past him into the pass of Fermin Lopez, who slides it into the path of Lewandowski. 2-1 Barcelona. For me, 100% unequivocally, it was the correct decision for me. Because also another thing I hear is he's in midair. Only even a little push like that can get you off your feet, can get you off balance. Where in the rule book does it say when you're judging a potential infringement, a potential foul for pushing and all that? Where does it say that the criteria of a foul in that situation changes of the players in midair? Whether the player's in midair or he has 2 feet on the ground. If he has 2 feet on the ground, let's say Kim Min-jae is dribbling out, he has 2 feet on the ball, and that occurrence happens with Fermin Lopez trying to win the ball, and he taps him like that from behind, but he ends up winning the ball clearly with his feet. Is that being called a foul? No, but it's the fact that he's in midair that also has people, yelling about it, saying, when you're in midair and you get touched like that, it's a very different thing. But again, where in the rule book does the criteria change for someone being mid-air compared to someone having their feet on the ground and being balanced? It was horrible defending. at the end of the day. He misjudged the flight of the ball, and it would have only been something that would have saved them in that moment, because it was horrible defending. Even if you want to deem that a foul, nah, that's bad defending. And I've been saying that all the time with this Bayern Munich defense. Not only are their center halves a problem, but they don't protect them with how open that they are. Why didn't Vincent Kompany tell one fullback to drop no matter what, just to keep yourself, just to make sure you could level up one-on-one with Lewandowski, Raphinha, and Robert Lewandowski, Raphinha, and he's escaping my mind, and Lamine Yamal. Why are you allowing both of them to drop up, and you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position? That third goal comes, Raphinha just taking advantage of plenty of space with one ball played in behind, so much space. Bayern Munich being open. Upamecano gets caught up trying to press Robert Lewandowski to stop that initial ball, because he's having to drop off because there's nobody in that space. This is one of the few times that Rafael Guerreiro is not bombed up the field, so he is able to get back, but he's having to go one-on-one against a Raphinha team who's been electric, playing with pace. Upamecano is too late to come on the double up because he's having to initially press Robert Lewandowski there because of how high and open that they're playing, and Raphinha slots it home 3-1, and it was essentially game over there. From there, when it turned 3-1 to Barcelona, you really struggled to think, wow, how is Bayern going to get back into this game? Because I did think Barcelona would close up shop a little bit. I thought they, were they didn't park the bus or anything sort of, anything close to that. But, they played a little more tight, a little bit more compact than normal. But even in that second half, even with Bayern, they created a few opportunities. But out of nowhere, Barcelona, they get out of that initial press. Really good ball played from Pedri to get out of the initial press. Gets the ball to Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal delivers an absolutely sensational ball with his left foot right into the pass of Raphinha. And Raphinha, who's been playing probably the best football of anybody in this world so far this season. Raphinha is, if the season ended today, he'd be top 3 in the Ballon d'Or. That's how great he's been. Takes it onto his left foot, playing with confidence, and a really good finish from there. I have to say, pretty poor goalkeeping from Manuel Neuer. From that position, the only place that he really could have beat, that Raphinha could beat him was that far post. That near post was not going to be beatable from that angle. And yeah, no, that was poor goalkeeping, and he made a few mistakes in this one. There's no arguing that. 4-1 Barcelona, and yeah, they're just too open, Bayern Munich. As far as Barcelona though, in this game, they proved they are absolutely legit. They proved that they have the quality to get out of that initial press. They proved that Raphinha, what he's done so far hasn't been some blimps, hasn't been a one-hit wonder sort of start. No, this is a dude that has some real confidence now, and is showing this quality, and is showing why Barcelona made the signing to sign him. You're looking at Barcelona. This is a team that's only going to get better under Hansi Flick as they get more adjusted to him. This is a team that's only going to get better as the quality of the team improves, specifically getting that number 6, which is something you'd probably have to, you're probably thinking, when I'm thinking that, I'm thinking of the long term, because that's not a position that they're going to be able to solve in January. But I do have to say, Barcelona, phenomenal. Bayern, look, they play some good football, and they go after it, which I don't mind. And Vincent Kompany is a rookie manager in this level, but at the same time, you have to have balance. It was so naive that they thought they could go away to Barcelona. Yes, you're not playing at the Camp Nou, but you're playing a Barcelona team that has 9 wins from 10 so far in La Liga, and you could play as open as you did and thought you could get away with it. That's very, very naive. You have to have a balance, and this Bayern team lacks that balance. quite simply. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we will do a full reaction to today's Champions League fixtures.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Before the break, we did a full reaction to Raphinha's hat-trick firing Barcelona past Bayern Munich. We move on to do a full reaction of today's Champions League fixtures. We'll start off with the early games. Actually, I believe there was only one early game, I believe. But that don't matter. We start off with Brest Leverkusen. A good result from Brest. They got a 1-1 draw with Leverkusen, playing this game at the Stade de Rodero. We know what Bayern Leverkusen is capable of. They've had a really good start to their campaign so far. Leverkusen in their first 2 games, 2 wins from 2, going away to Feyenoord and getting a big win as well. Leverkusen, we know the quality that they have. And, they got not done, but, it was a stalemate affair. And I do have to say there was periods that Brest played some pretty good football, and 7 points from 3 is a really good start from Brest. I do have to say, really, really impressive start. So kudos to them. Man, the woes continue. Leipzig, this is a team, RB Leipzig, that came in as a pot 1 team. A pot 1 team, which is almost prestigious, because pot 1 teams, it's all the big name, big clubs. The pot 1 teams, you're playing you're looked at as one of the top teams. You're not having to play many of the top teams if you're the pot 1 team. But guess what? Despite being a pot 1 team, Leipzig are currently, after 3 match days, sitting 20 or 34th in the no, they're not sitting 34th. I'm sorry. They are sitting. They're sitting 31st. I'm right. They are sitting 31st in the Champions League after 3 match days, with no wins, no draws, 3 losses, -3 goal differential. And they lost this one against Liverpool, which obviously losing to Liverpool is not something to be. It's not something to be embarrassed about. We know what Liverpool has been this season. Probably been the hottest team so far in the world besides Barcelona so far this season, or probably both them and Barcelona. Honestly, Liverpool has probably been hotter because Barcelona did have that bad result to Monaco in the Champions League. Liverpool has been perfect. They have had only 1 loss all season in all competitions, in Champions League and Premier League. So really good win for them. Really good win from them. They've been looking good in this Champions League. They're still perfect. took advantage of a Nunez goal in the 27th minute. Darwin Nunez doesn't get much start, haven't gotten much starts this season, but he took advantage of that, of that opportunity with the goal that ended up being the winner. Jota, he was ruled out because of an injury, so Nunez slotted in, and then he poked in an opportunity created from Mohamed Salah through a header, and now this is Liverpool's 6th away win out of the 6 games that they've played in all competition this season. That is ridiculously amazing. Liverpool are really, really good team as well. They're sitting, top in the Premier League. They're ranked top. Them and Aston Villa are the only 2 teams that are perfect so far in the Champions League. Aston Villa has 1 goal differential advantage over them, but Liverpool, brilliant team. City defeats Sparta Praha 3-1. 5-0. I expected this game to be exactly what it was. I expected players like Matinho Nunez to start. I thought this was a game he was going to start in. There was still some important players involved in this game. Erling Haaland, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden. But yeah, City had an opportunity to give rest to important players as well, like Vardiol, Ederson, Kovacic, Ruben Diaz in this one. And yeah, they got 5-0. Everyone is talking about that Erling Haaland goal. It's ridiculous. But bro, Erling Haaland is a freak of nature. Nothing he does surprises me. That goal was absolutely ridiculous, I do have to say. Out of this world. When Guardiola says after the game that, this is not a goal that a human scores. Bro, it's just crazy. And it was a kung fu kick backwards almost. And now Erling Haaland is ridiculous. I think he's on pace to get 7,000 goals this season. What is he currently sitting at? What is he currently sitting at actually? He has 10 goals in 8 games so far in the Premier League. And then he has 3 goals in 3 games in the Champions League. So he has 13 goals in 11 games. A little bit over a goal a game. More than a goal a game. Yeah, that's just insane. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. But he's a freak. He's not a human. Obviously, we talked about Barcelona beating Bayern. We're going to hold off on the Atletico Madrid little game. Dinamo Zagreb, Salzburg, two teams that came in relatively poor position. It was important for any of these 2 teams to get the result. It was Dinamo Zagreb that ends up getting the win, which lifts them to the 22nd. Now with their first win, they have 4 points over 3 games. So a really good win for them. Feyenoord, surprised about this one. Feyenoord getting the 3-1 win over Benfica. Benfica had a huge opportunity in this one, going up against a Feyenoord team that, I thought Benfica could take advantage of, but it's Feyenoord that gets to the win, and a big win for them because now they're sitting on 6 points, despite that dumping that they suffered in their opening game of the Champions League to Feyenoord. Since then, they've went on to win 2, so. Really good response to them. Really good response to them from that opening day disappointment to Leverkusen. Inter, late win over Young Boys. I do have to say I was surprised that it took Inter Milan it took them as long as it did, but they were able to finally break them down. Inter Milan, we know the quality that Inter Milan has, what they've done. Haven't had the best start to their season. Had a lot of important players on the bench like Bastoni, Di Marco, Lautaro Martinez, Marcus Thuram. And, it was, those players did make a difference though coming off the bench. And it was Thuram getting the winner. And, important one for Inter Milan as well because, they're one of those teams that really want to make sure that they're in that top 8 and don't have to play that unnecessary game in January. They have a lot to play for in domestic competition. They have the quality to be in that top 8. So good win for them. They're sitting 7th, they are sitting 7th place, but that's all based on like tiebreakers and all that. But they're tied for 2nd place. Everybody, there's 7 teams that have 7 points after 3 games. Inter happens to be one of those teams. So yeah, really good win for them. It was a late win as well. And the big game that we need to discuss, we need to go in depth on, is this Atletico Madrid and Lille game. Wow. Really, I was really surprised at that. I thought, this was a game that Atletico Madrid was going to wrap up in the back, especially when they went up 1-0 early on. I thought, okay, Atletico Madrid, there's no way that they lose this game. There is just absolutely no way that they lose this game. But Jonathan David's double helped Lille with this stunning comeback. They did this, keep in mind, away at the Riyadh Air Metropolitano. Their goalkeeper had a roldie, Lucas Chevalier, who has had has made a lot of key saves. Jonathan David, he actually became the all-time top Canadian scorer in the Champions League now with the 6th goal, passing Thomas Radzinski. The problem with Atletico Madrid, and maybe I should have saw this coming, because we've seen this coming in earlier games so far this season as well, in which they've scored early. Sometimes they took their feet off. They take their feet off the gas and they don't really go for it in these moments. Now you saw the front three of Griezmann, Sorloth, Julian Alvarez, which is what we want to see. We want to see all those. We want to see that front three. We want to see that front three get some cohesion and play a lot of games. But even when they're getting these early goals and they're not having to rely late in games with individual moments, they're still not, and they're not trying to, finish the game in that first half there. It's almost like England at the European Championship. They score that goal early and then they invite some pressure, especially in that second half. Once Lille started to ratchet up, it didn't seem like Atletico Madrid were able to get out at all, get out of the press that they were in, get out of the jail that they were in. And that is a massive loss for Atletico Madrid, I do have to say. Because they've already lost, they got walloped by Benfica away. They are sitting in 27th. They're not even in a position to play in a knockout stage game in January. Play in that play-in or playoff game. They're not even in that position. With 3 points from 3 points in 3 games. Only have a -5 goal differential, conceding 8, scoring 3. Atletico Madrid need to figure it out, and quite frankly, they need to figure it out really, really, really fast. Because, man, I was really surprised about that one. I thought that was one of the locks, I have to say. I did not see that coming whatsoever. And yeah. But yeah, after 3 games, just do a quick wrap up on the standings. Aston Villa sits top with 9 points from three games. The only other team that's perfect with 9 points from 9 points from 9 is Liverpool, who are sitting second based on tiebreakers and goal differential. They have they both scored 6 goals, but Liverpool allowed a goal against AC Milan. Villa hasn't allowed a single goal, so by tiebreaker they're number 1. There's 7 teams that are tied for that or have the same amount of points at 7 points. They all, in general, in theory, are tied for second place because they all have the same amount of points. But goal differential is what differentiates these teams. With City at 3rd, Monaco 4th, Brest 5th, Leverkusen 6th, Inter Milan 7, Sporting Lisbon 8, and Arsenal 9. Now these next these next 7 teams all sit on 6 points. Obviously, goal differential separating them. Barcelona sitting in 10th, Dortmund 11th, Madrid in 12th, Benfica in 13, Juventus in 14, Lille in 15. Lille in 15, and Feyenoord in 16. Atalanta, they're sitting. Oh, that's also a game I didn't cover actually. Atalanta and Celtic. That game finished 0-0. I was surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I was really surprised at that result. That scoreline finished 0-0. I thought Celtic would struggle going into Atalanta, going into Bergamo, and they were Atalanta were the more protagonists in this one. But I thought Celtic had more balance, showed their willingness to defend and understand the quality that they have. And Brendan Rodgers did go in close up. Good for them because that's a good result. So yeah, Atalanta currently sitting in 17th with 5 points. Then now again tiebreakers. The next 4 teams are sitting on 4 points, or the next 5 teams they're all sitting on 4 points. Goal differential separating them. Stuttgart in 18th, PSG in 19th, Celtics in 20, Sparta Praha in 21, Zagreb in 22. And then these next teams are sitting in 3 points. Wow, I didn't notice this. Bayern Munich, they did lose to Aston Villa, now losing to Barcelona. They're sitting on 3 points after 3 games. That is a pretty bad start. And now the pressure will rack up on Vincent Kompany. They're 23rd. Wow. Girona 24th. AC Milan is 25th, who also had a poor start. By the way, 25th is the cutoff. You don't even get a chance to be in the playoff once you're 25th and below. Club Brugge in 26th. Atletico Madrid is 27th. With the thumping that they suffered to Benfica last week, now this loss to Lille, they're sitting in 27th. In 28th is PSV with 2 points. Now there's only 2 teams that have 1 point after these 3 games. Bologna, new team playing in the Champions League, they're sitting 29th. Shakhtar Donetsk, they're in 30th. Now these are the teams that all have 0 points. They haven't gotten a single point so far. Leipzig, who came in as a pot 1 team, horrible start from them, 31st. Sturm Graz 32, Crvena 33, RB Salzburg 34, Young Boys 35, and Slovan Bratislava 26. Thank you guys for hearing me out. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll do a preview of United taking on Fenerbahce.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Before the break, we discussed today's Champions League fixtures. We move on to do a preview. Manchester United, they take on Fenerbahce tomorrow in the Europa League. In my opinion, a big game for both of these teams in the Europa League. United are currently in the aggregate standings 21st. They had 2 points after 2 games. Pretty poor start for them. Fenerbahce, they're sitting. Where are they sitting? Fenerbahce. They're sitting 14th with 4 points through 2 games. Decent start from them. they've struggled a little bit at the in the Turkish league this season. This is a team that had, I believe, 99 points last season or something like that. They've already lost a game this season. They've already dropped points in 2 other draws. They have 17 points from 8 games. Not the best from their standards. They're already 8 points off Galatasaray. With Galatasaray has played an extra game, so we'll give or take about 5 points ahead if you simulate that win for Fenerbahce. But yeah, pretty poor start for them in the Super League. We know United, how dreadful that they've been. By the way, Fenerbahce in their last game, they had a 2-2 draw with Samsunspor. Late goal coming from Ayodoglu in that one. Now let's go back as far as Manchester United. We know what they've been in this Premier League. They're sitting 12th right now. Was 11 points from 8 games, but they've been pretty poor. Man United have. They had probably their best performance, or definitely their best performance from the season. It might be their best performance of the last couple of seasons, or last 2 seasons, with that result performance that they had against Brentford. So there's a little bit of momentum that they can build on from that game, but United have struggled to take advantage of any momentum that they've been able to gain over these past, over this season and last season. Anytime that they end up getting a good result, is immediately followed by a really poor one. That's been the issue. They haven't been able to build any sort of consistency as of late. The players have not been consistent, specifically speaking of the Rashfords, the Bruno Fernandezes. The players that are expected to be the consistent ones, the leaders of the team, are the ones letting them down in these sort of games. And there's pressure now, in this game. You drop points again after 3 games, you're potentially sitting on 3 points or less. If you drop points in this game, if you have 3 or 2 points after 3 games, that's a horrible start for Manchester United in the Europa League. You only have 3 points in 3 games, or maybe even less than that. In 2 of the games, not 2 of the games, but I forgot what I was going to say. But going back to it, but you're Manchester United, what a horrible start. I'm tired of talking about Erik ten Hag. Is he going to get sacked? Is he not? It's the same story over and over again. And quite frankly, I think GSMC, the whole podcast network is tired of hearing me ramble on and on about Erik ten Hag. Whether it's is he about to get sacked? Is this? I'm tired talking about Ten Hag. We know what he is. We know what he. We know what's the situation. We know United. They're reluctant. They're incapable of making a high pressurized decision. So it's enough talking about it. As far as this one, obviously United have individually the better players, but Fenerbahce, they do have the quality to cause United issues. I was seeing, Fenerbahce, they have some really good players, and it makes you think, Mourinho, with this quality, he could pull off an upset. You have a Dzeko up top who has real quality. You have Sofiane Amrabat and Fred that pivot in midfield. That is, they're both former Manchester United players, playing against their former team. I believe both of them playing for the first time against their former team. Definitely Amrabat, he was just there last season. They have Filip Kostic. Who was involved with at Eintracht Frankfurt. I know him. He's a player with some quality. Dusan Tadic, brilliant player, real quality. They have players like Yusuf and Nasiri, Alan Saint-Maximin. They have some quality, this Fenerbahce team, and they could cause United issue, especially if United are open to the counter. This Fenerbahce team, they'll be able to control the game in certain moments. And United have to be careful, because this is a team that can cause them issue. They can't overlook this team. This team has quality, and they're managed by Jose Mourinho. In these sort of games, I believe he still has these sort of moments in him where he can get the best out of the team, that he can set them up to do the most damage going against United. Take advantage of the weaknesses of that Manchester United team. Speaking about Jose Mourinho, as expected, how charismatic he is, he he talked about his United past. He talked about his United past and stuff. Oh, he also talked about with all the court cases, United did finish second place in the 2017-18 season. And Mourinho, when he was saying, he said, I think Man United will still have a chance to win that league if they punish Manchester City. In that case, I hope they give me my medal and pay me the bonus. I wish all the best. Oh, yeah. No, that's not part of that quote. That was really, really funny. Who knows? I mean, you never know. 115 or whatever charges or whatever. I know he's probably joking, but him saying I could still win the Premier League with United, that was really, really funny. When he talked about United, he said, having analyzed them with my team, there is work there and they will succeed sooner or later. I want them to be successful. I wish the best for the coach and players. I want the best for them. If things are not going amazingly well for them, it's not something that makes me happy. Now, look. Also, another thing I issue about Manchester United this game is these are players that don't have the ball, quite frankly. They don't have the ball, and this game is going to be played away in Shukro Sarayun. Yes, this is not the Galatasaray atmosphere. This is not playing in Istanbul or any of that. But these Turkish atmospheres are still electric, and they can really make put these United players in vulnerable position. So there's that aspect to it. A European night in Turkey is no joke. I fear for this United team. I fear for these United players. I think this is in the making of a potential upset. So, yeah, I'll call it. I think Fenerbahce will get the result. I believe in Jose Mourinho. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we will discuss Calafiori's injury and how Arsenal will adapt to that, having to play Liverpool this weekend.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Before the break, we discussed United taking on Fenerbahce. We previewed that game. We move on to discuss Calafiori's injury and Arsenal's now defensive issues that they'll have against Liverpool. That is coming up this weekend. Obviously, big game for Arsenal going up against, now we know a potential direct rival for the Premier League. Calafiori, he limped off the field during Arsenal's win over Shakhtar Donetsk with an injury, and it's looking like that that's a big blow for Arsenal ahead of their game on Sunday against Emirates, in a game in which we know Saliba, he will be suspended after that red card that he had against Bournemouth, and now now Arsenal are in a pretty vulnerable position in that back line. Kieran Tierney, who normally is not he's not in contention to play on Arsenal. He hasn't been in contention for a very long time. He's been on loan out actually for the last few years or so. Suddenly, he would have been a valuable piece if he was fully fit. But even he is now fully fit, and now you're looking at that back line and you're wondering, how are they gonna go about it? Tomiyasu, he also is suffered a setback when he's trying to make a return from his knee injury. It seems like Julian Timber availability also might be in the balance as well. He hasn't featured since the international break. This is a team already missing Odegaard, Bukayo Saka. They said Mikel Arteta said he's probably not going to be available for Liverpool, which could be a little bit of gamesmanship, could not, we don't know. But still, this is ridiculous. Arsenal, you're in a position right now, Ben White is probably going to have to play next to Gabriel. They're going to have to bring in, the Timber has to be available. They have no other option at that point. Timber, he has to be available because he has to play right back. And then at left back, you'll have to go with Kivior or Zinchenko. Both players that Mikel Arteta does not trust in this situation going up against, the likes of Mohamed Salah. You know what I mean? Look, Arsenal's defense right now, they're, just based on the injuries, they're pretty shambles. And this Arsenal team has gone through a horrible injury plague so far this season. It's been really devastating. It's blow after blow, and it just seems like a team that might be falling apart, I do have to say. Because the thing is, usually you can suffer a little bit of injuries, you can suffer a little bit of bad results and make that late season push as you get players back. But with how the Premier League era is nowadays, you have to start off strong, you have to be strong in the middle, you have to be strong in the end. You cannot have any weaknesses or it'll be enough to cost you that league title. This is a league now, it's 95 plus points. It's 90 plus points. That's the standards of this league. It was back then you could win the league with 82 points, with 79 points even, something like that. It is a completely different scenario that this Arsenal team is finding something. So you might be thinking, wow, this, it might be, vulnerable. And I do have to say, Arteta, he has a lot of, the thing that does help him is he does have a lot of hybrid fullback center backs, like Julian Timber, like Ben White, like Calafiori. But the problem with Calafiori is not available, Julian Timber might not be available. If Julian Timber is not available, then you're really, really in trouble if you're looking at it from an Arsenal perspective. You're probably going to have to go with Ben White at right back. You'll go with either Zinchenko or Kivior at left back. And the center back partnership will... Who'd you play next to? That's the problem though. Who'd you play with next to Saliba? But when the one, if you would say weakness about this Arsenal defense is they have a few hybrid center halves, yes. But, you take out Saliba and Gabriel, you don't have a third center half in that squad that purely plays center half on its own. That's not a hybrid, player. So that's an issue there. Now, honestly, with no Saliba, Ben White has to slot into that center back position because there's no Calafiori as well. Now, if Timber's available, Timber can slide into that center half position. But if Timber's not, if Timber's available, I think it's manageable. You'd probably slide in, either Ben White or center half at Ben White or Timber at center half, play the other at right back, and bring in either Kivior or Zinchenko. No matter what, Kivior or Zinchenko is gonna have to play left back. That's a horrible position to be in going up against Mohamed Salah. That's exactly where Mikel Arteta did not want to be in, and that's why he brought in the likes of Calafiori, because he did not want to have to go into games against these elite level wingers and play with Zinchenko at left back or Kibbe or at left back. Is exactly why. And on top of that, is he doesn't want to do it in any games. And on top of that, the game coming up this weekend is Liverpool. It's even more devastating if you're looking at it from Mikel Arteta's perspective. It's just, it's something that you have to. And look, I do have to say, based on what we've seen from Arsenal this season, going up against Liverpool, even the game is at Emirates. I think Arsenal is going to allow Liverpool to have the ball. I think Arsenal is going to try to soak up as much pressure, kind of keep it as compact as possible, and they're gonna try to break them down. Because look, Arsenal in this game, they're not gonna have much creativity with Saka being out, and we know Odegaard, their most creative player, being out. They're not gonna be able to create a crazy amount of opportunities. They haven't been able to do that in any game this season, especially since they lost Odegaard. And then now defensively, they got individual pieces that there's no cohesion in that back line. There's a lot of mix matching. There's a lot of players that haven't played much. There's weaknesses in there as well at left back and all that. I don't know. I don't know how Arsenal is going to go about it. Now, I'm going to do a full preview of this Arsenal-Liverpool game probably on Friday, so I don't want to give you out too much. But Arsenal have suffered a lot of injuries and a lot of blows. And now this Saliba red card thing is just coming at the worst time to come against Liverpool out of all teams. And I think Saliba is that glue that holds this Arsenal defense open. You saw how they looked when Saliba went out. They conceded those 2 goals against Bournemouth in that second half. You have to say, if it was Gabriel that got the red card instead of Saliba, is it the same result? Does Arsenal go on and lose the game and concede the goals that they do? I don't know. I think Saliba is an important part of that defense. Maybe the glue that holds them defender. I think Saliba on his own is an individually really, really good defender. I'm not there yet to say that about Gabriel. I don't think he is that guy that can be that glue for that defense and keep everything steady going up against a team like Liverpool. I don't believe that for 1 minute. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we will do a reaction to some of the top soccer headlines. Before the break, we discussed Calafiori's injury and who will Arsenal start in defense against Liverpool. We move on to react to some of the top headlines going on in the soccer world. We didn't get to discuss this much on the previous edition of the top headlines, but really surprising news. Virgil van Dijk, he is in talks with Liverpool over a new deal. He has opened talks with the club regarding a new deal. He's been at Liverpool since January 2018, and his current contract does run out at the end of the season. And Virgil van Dijk, he came out and says, discussions are ongoing. We will see what happens in the future. My full focus is on Liverpool wanting to win games that are ahead of me and nothing else. What the future will bring, I have no idea at the moment. I can only tell you that discussions have started and we will see. So there's a willingness from both sides. well, obviously there's a willingness from Liverpool there, but there's a willingness from Virgil van Dijk, from what it seems like here, to stay at Liverpool. So, wow, that'd be great. That'd be very vital for Liverpool to keep Virgil van Dijk. There's also Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mohamed Salah, who are also due to be out of contract, and there still has been no updates on their situation. It remains to be seen how it goes for there. We know Van Dijk, he is that leader, and one would argue he's probably the most important player to keep. I don't necessarily agree with that when you look at all the outside factors of losing a player that came up the ranks in Trent Alexander-Arnold that has the quality that he has, and on top of that, losing him in all likelihood or not, losing him to Real Madrid, a team that's been your nemesis in the Champions League, that's gotten the best of you year in and year out in the Champions League. It's just a hard pill to swallow if you're a Liverpool fan. It would be an absolutely devastating blow. So yeah. Raphinha, he came out after the game saying the Bayern rout was a revenge for the fans. We know they played that 8-2 ridiculous game a few years ago. And then last season, Bayern Munich took advantage of Barcelona a few times as well. Or I believe now it's 2 seasons ago, actually. Or was it last season? Whatever. It don't matter. La Liga, they're also continuing to work on trying to stage a Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid La Liga game on the third weekend of December. They're continuing to work on trying to stage a Barcelona home fixture against Atletico Madrid in Miami on the third weekend in December. But there's still several things that need to fall in place for the plan to go ahead. The Spanish league, they've been working on trying to get a La Liga game in the U.S. for a long time, but there have been opposition from a lot of different organizations: the RFEF, the Royal Federation of Espanol Football, the Spanish Football Federation, FIFA, and even U.S. Soccer has came out in opposition against it. There's sources that say some of those issues are starting to get settled, and that there's a real potential of this Barcelona against Atletico Madrid game happening at the Hard Rock Stadium. Relevant Sports Group, who are working on this project with La Liga, did not make any comments, but it seems like this is a real possibility. Now, there is some logistical factors to keep in mind. The Miami Dolphins are set to host the 49ers at a Hard Rock Stadium on December 22. La Liga president Javier Tebas has spoken many times about his desire to play a regular season game abroad. But yeah, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, these are two teams that have been involved in previous talks to take a game overseas, specifically to the United States. It was Barcelona. Barcelona was rumored to be involved in a game against Girona, which didn't go through. The other was Atletico Madrid with Villarreal, which didn't end up happening. It remains to be seen if this happens. I think it will be interesting. UEFA, who governs European football, would have to also give a green light to the plan. A spokesman for the UEFA body said UEFA has not been approached regarding this matter. The process to follow in such cases is to have an agreement from the clubs, the RFEF, which is the Spanish Football Federation, U.S. Soccer, CONCACAF, and only then from UEFA. So there's a lot of things that needs to happen. My personal opinion, you look at it, I understand why Spanish fans would be pissed off about that or angry about it, for a better word choice there. I do think there is the thing though, when you look at the NFL, they've been able to make the game more worldwide with playing games overseas. When it comes to football is a relatively new and young sport in America. And most of the football fans here are, number one, casual fans. Fans that don't really know much. And the casual fans know 2 things, sometimes maybe 3. They know the World Cup, because everybody knows the World Cup. I'm talking about the casual fans here. They know the World Cup, and then they know the Premier League. There's also a minority that might, the casual fans that might know about the Champions League. But most casual fans here, they don't know the whole concept of the domestic leagues. They don't know La Liga. They don't know that's the domestic league for Spain. They see Barcelona and Spain play against each other, El Clasico, and they'll tune in and watch that game, but they won't even know what league this game is happening in. They just watch the game for the sake of watching the game. They don't know much. I think you play a La Liga game here, you're growing the league here, you're growing the sport here. And it's a real opportunity for marketing and investment that La Liga could only benefit off of. So, I think there is some incentives there. But again, it's the age-old dilemma. Should a game between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, or should any game between two, cities and one, over there, a game in La Liga, that's the Spanish league, should a game that should be played in Spain, should that be played overseas? It's the big dilemma. You have that all the time. But, I don't know. It's interesting, definitely. It's an interesting concept, and it's something I've enjoyed debating with my peers in the past. Thank you guys, though, for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. So thank you once again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.